I'm not going to say no. No one is going to dominate us here, thinking you're going to speak and speak things we won't respond to. We're going to respond to. If you are challenged and the mind is feeling pain now, it's none of our problem. If you are partisan people with weak minds and concentration span, it's the party's problem. It's not our problem. Listen, the minister's talking now.
No, And now, guys, on something interesting. Senzo Mchunu came out to defend himself following allegations made by General Mukhwanazi. Key points from Mchunu's appearance. Mchunu's December 2024 directive to disband the political killings test team. Critics argue that this was an operational decision, a police function rather than a ministerial one, and that he overstepped his mandate. Today, it was unclear whether or not a proper meeting was held between the minister, General Mukhwanazi, Fani Masemola, and Senzo himself, and there is no clear evidence whether there was an agreement to disband the PKTT. Mchunu's team and spokesperson have insisted that many of the allegations are insinuations made without due process. But this tactic cannot work in this instance, in my opinion. In my opinion, the only way I see it could have worked had Mchunu not been linked to Brown Mogotsi and Vusi Matlala. But now, those WhatsApp messages are decisive because they not only show communication between the trio, but the fact that a police minister is allegedly linked to a criminal is in itself a deal breaker, and that the conversations they had points towards the direction and in favor of what General Mukhwanazi said. Because here's the thing. A major line of inquiry concerns his alleged connections to figures such as Brown Mogotsi and Vusi Matlala, and whether those relationships influenced the disbandment of the PKTT or other police operations. Because if Matlala was a clean man, this whole situation wouldn't even been a debate in the first place. Vusi Matlala is the main character in this whole situation. Why am I saying this? Well, because based on his criminal record, it's shocking when we find out the people who are linked to him.
Mchunu is expected to argue that some of the claims rest on assumptions or hearsay, or that there is a lack of direct involvement in drafting certain memos or directives. But if this is the only defense mechanism left for those who are implicated in these allegations, then I'm afraid to say that as long as they are linked to this man Vusi, and as long as there's substantial evidence of direct involvement, I don't see how they will come out of this. You know that feeling when you're playing chess, but it's already checkmate, but they're still giving you an opportunity to look for the next move? Turn left, there is Vusi Matlala. Turn right, you see Brown Mogotsi and Mukhwanazi with files waiting to see your next move.
Hello.
The media and other testimony have placed pressure on him to clarify the nature, timing, and content of communications with these persons. This kind of reminds me of a cheating partner being accused of cheating and denying it, and you give them an opportunity to speak, even though the evidence is right there on the phone. But not exactly just that, this is a more serious case. Today's session was treated as high stakes, given that Mchunu is the first person directly accused to respond publicly before Parliament to the allegations. The public and media are closely watching whether he can convincingly refute or contextualize claims made previously in testimony by KZN Commissioner Mukhwanazi. And remember guys, Brown Mogotsi and Vusi could potentially come and testify, and if they do, things could get a little messy. The National Police Commissioner and others allegedly have testified that they were not consulted or that Mchunu did not receive performance/work reports from the unit, suggesting lack of oversight or knowledge. Senzo Mchunu also gave some reasons as to why he disbanded. Let me play these videos for you guys. Watch and try to understand what they're saying.
Of him, Brown Mogotsi. You're nodding yes?
Yes, I know him.
Yes, you know.
Yes, I know him.
Now, my question is, would it bother you that you issued your directive, it appears at 5:20, on the 31st of December 2024. Is that right?
Yes.
Thank you. Because that we picked up from, I think, the affidavit of Masimola. So would it concern or bother you that at 10:38, Mogotsi sends a WhatsApp to Kat Matlala indicating, and I quote from the WhatsApp, the task team that came to your house and arrested you has been dissolved/disbanded, exclamation mark.
10:30 on the same day.
On the same day. On January 1st, Mogotsi informed Matlala
On January the 1st. Okay.
that he would be meeting with you and Lieutenant General Sabia. He says in a text message, "Good day, I've arranged a meeting for Sabia and the minister. Must have a solution."
There are two questions there. The first one is, would it concern me that Mogotsi seems to...
Shortly after you,
Yeah,
you
yes.
should.
It would concern me.
It would.
It would concern me because I wouldn't know how that happened. But not only when my letter found its way into his hands on the date and time, it would have concerned me if my letter...
3, I've already given given what happened on the 1st and what happened later. But now, give me space to give you reasons why we disbanded. And some of the answers from your question, some of the answers you will get as I move on the matter. I'm saying this to lessen the burden on senior counsel to say, answer this question. I've answered. Okay, can I go ahead? Okay, go ahead. Final. All right. So the first reason is that we get to the department, we do various discussions, consultations, we read, and so on. And then gradually, I get to learn about all these things that were spoken about up to now. What happened in 2019 and so on. The work studies, the establishment, we get to discuss the imperatives of the 7th administration, and we deal with the organogram, and we come up with a new structure crafted on the basis of what had happened before, and we move on with the work. All right. It becomes imperative to me as minister that you can't have a duplicate structure or any other duplicate structures on top of what has already been put in place and what can deliver on the mandate of the 7th administration in the form of this organogram, catering for all that SAPS could do or can do in order to meet the mandates and the imperatives of the 7th administration. And I'm saying I'm convinced that if this organogram is implemented, it will have an impact on matters, on firearms and so on crime in South Africa, based on this, if we go on. So you streamline, you say, I've got the machinery now, as we have signed off now. And it is important to note that there is no one, when we did this, who said, put in the organogram the National Political Killings Task Team It has been there for 5, 6, 7 years. Put it on the organogram. No one said so. Not Commissioner Masimula, not the other generals, including General Mkhwanazi or General Kumar. So we went on with the organogram until it was finalized. But we went on with this understanding that there is no task team that, including the National Political Killings Task Team, it was never meant to be permanent. It was even referred to as a project. In many documents, is reflected on as a project. Now, if it's a project, it tells you that as a project, it would have a particular time frame of starting, particular funding, and particular time of ending. It's not a permanent project. So that's the first reason. Second reason, I began to say, I got to interact with a lot of people. Deputy ministers also got to interact with many people. Now, others made written inputs and others didn't. The categories of people who were speaking to us are different. Maybe let me start with the one that even finally made me write on the 31st of December. A number of people who were part of the National Political Task Team sent WhatsApps to me and to the deputy ministers over a long period, shortly after we started working in SAPS. Others, as I've said, would want to see me privately, confidential. And we had talks. And there are quite a number. Now, those people would say, we don't want to be revealed. We don't want to be known. We just are coming here to say there are these particular issues. And let me categorize them. They are in two categories, those issues. They are of an HR nature. The practices within National Political Killings Task Team, the way they practiced HR matters or handled HR matters. Two, they are of a nature that made me feel that if these matters are not attended to expeditiously, they have potential, if not already, of damaging the reputation of SAPS, amounting to others defeating the ends of justice. So they were in two categories. Now, those matters, as I've indicated, they were detailed in the conversations.
Is going now to come to action because the side of my story with those messages and everything that you see, I'll be explaining to say, this is my relationship with Ket Matlala. Didn't you like it when the Deputy National Commissioner said we met in Cape Town and I forgot to pay my coffee or my breakfast? You must just think along those lines. Thank you so much.
Mogotsi, thank you very much for always being available.
Now, when you allocate the resources, where do you put those figures? When you say to the nation, I have the National Political Killings Task Team that is dealing with all these matters in these categories throughout the country that I'm talking, are you speaking the truth? You are lying. You are lying to the nation. No matter how eloquent you put it, no matter how you look like in the face, It just is not reality that we're dealing with. You are just talking. Even if they clap hands for you, you are not dealing with reality. That's what I'm talking about here. Now, you are minister of, you are given a job, minister of police. What do? You've got to run the country, not KZN. You've got to reduce crime. You've got to reduce murders. You've got to reduce proliferation of arms throughout. You can't deal with it with one temporal task team based in KZN. You will never do it. No matter how you claim, no matter how many times you go to TV, you will never do it. You'll never do it. That's my argument.
No,
I'm not going to say no. No one is going to dominate us here, thinking you're going to speak and speak things we won't respond to. We're going to respond to. If you are challenged and the mind is feeling pain now, it's none of our problem. If you are partisan people with weak minds and concentration span, it's the party's problem. It's not our problem. Listen, the minister's talking now.
No, let me rule you out.
No, Chair, no, let's address that behavior.
No,
Let's address that behavior.
I'm ruling.
No, let's address that hooliganism. Let's address that hooliganism.
I'm ruling the statement.
No, let's address that hooliganism, Chair.
Yeah, but
let's address that hooliganism.
Let me speak first.
Let's address that hooliganism.
Yeah.
We're not scared of the man. We can address him.
Honorable number.
If we are scared of him, we're not scared of him.
Honorable number.
Let's address him.
Honorable number. There is no way I will not allow you to speak. I'm ruling that statement out of order. It's what I'm saying. It does not belong here. It's unfortunate that it has to be made. And I'm ruling it out. So now I give you a chance to speak.
I withdraw, Chair.
You have made a progressive ruling, Chair. Thank you very much.